The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Today we're going to talk about how you can get a grip on the 3 C's, communication, collaboration, and coordination with Office 365. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter for today, Mike Hammonds, the Director of Solution Architects here at Infinity.
Great. Thank you, Matt, and thank you all for joining. Feel free to reach out to me to any of these communication channels. I'm pretty active on all of them. Feel free to follow me as well. So today, as Matt pointed out, we're going to cover Office 365 and CRM, what I like to call better together, and we're going to cover the 3 C's. But before that, let's just, a little housekeeping thing. Definitely feel free to ask questions. You are on mute at this point in time, but you can ask questions through the panel. So most of you have probably done this, but in case you haven't, there's a little orange bar to the right of your screen generally with a little arrow on it. You can click that. That should expand and collapse your question window. So type in your question and don't forget to hit the send button, okay? And then we'll answer those towards the end of the session. All righty. So the 3 C's, communication, collaboration, coordination. We're going to cover how you can use technology to differentiate yourself from the competition. All right. So enabling the 3 C's. And we kind of define this as in order to enable the 3 C's, your users need to quickly and easily share what they know, find what they need with consistent and easy experiences, and ideally across devices and locations. And that's really the power of Office 365, and it's really bringing that to the table. So I think most of us is probably at least, have probably heard of Office 365, but sometimes we're not exactly sure what that is. And it's really a collection of the Microsoft productivity applications. So you can kind of think of it as the primary vehicle, which is Office, and that is our productivity apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Those are the 4 that most of us use every day for the most part, or we use at least one of those every single day. But it also extends that into now Office mobile applications. So not only do we have our familiar Office applications like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, even Access, and OneNote, and some of the other applications, from the desktop perspective, but now most of those are also available in the cloud, which is the online access. And to add even more value and increase our productivity and collaborative abilities, it's now also available on most devices. So ultimately, when you sign up for Office 365, you can kind of pick and choose, but we generally recommend kind of the full suite, if you will, because it's very affordable. And what that includes is not only Office, which you can install on up to 5 devices per user. So if somebody has a Mac at home, they can install it on a Mac at home. They can have a copy installed on their desktop at the office. And then if they have an iPad or hopefully a new Surface device, they can install it on that. And then they can also install and access it on their smartphone. And you don't pay any additional licensing for any of this. But it includes business class email, file sharing, and the ability to share not only amongst team members internally, but also externally, video conferencing and desktop sharing. There is some tech support, and Infinity provides that as well. SharePoint and Yammer for collaborating on the document side of things, as well as communicating through Yammer and more of that social aspect of being able to work with other team members. And then ideally accessing it anywhere. And Microsoft is actually one of the only ones that have a financially backed service level agreement. In other words, if the system goes down for less than 99.99, I think it's either 2 nines or 3 nines, then you get credited back some dollars. So one of the only ones to do that. Now, some people say, why choose cloud? And really, it comes down to, I believe, a couple big things. One, you've got applications now that are always up to date, right? You can use it on multiple devices, and you can use it across those multiple devices, and now even applications stay within sync across those devices. But it also is a way for all of these services and applications now, they work better together now. They all used to be kind of standalone. So if we did a Word document or Excel or a PowerPoint, most of the time we save that on our document folders on our local desktop, and then we'll send that by email, and then somebody edits it, and that comes back, and they might need to add more edits, and so then that goes out to a broader audience. So most of our file sharing now is really kind of siloed, if you will. And the cloud, and in particular Office 365 and all of the productivity apps, now make those things work much more seamlessly together, and I'm going to demonstrate that today. And then the other big thing is that Microsoft is now taking over the management of servers, of patches, of updates. So, if you think about it, most of our business is not centered around managing servers and software, at least especially around our productivity or business critical applications. Our business is serving our customers. And so the cloud is able to now to have those resources instead of, doing the, hot patch Tuesdays and making sure they're up on the latest and greatest versions, or, what we see in many organizations, they're 3, 4, and sometimes more versions behind what's available in the latest and greatest, which ultimately impacts our productivity, right? So it helps you stay up to date on all those things, focused on your business, and let Microsoft handle kind of the day-to-day mundane stuff, but also still giving you as an organization the right level of control that you need. So if you're in a regulated industry like life sciences or financial services, you still have a tremendous amount of control over that. And that leads me into the kind of this, I think, one of the really big ones, especially if you are in a regulated environment. Microsoft goes through great pains to go through independent, third-party, verifiable audits and maintain their credentials, such as HIPAA, right? So if you're in life sciences and healthcare, you know what a HIPAA agreement is, and they're one of the only providers that will really sign a business associate agreement. They're also ISO 27001 certified. They are PCI compliant, so if you have credit card information that you need to store, they already take care of that. EU model clauses and safe harbor clauses, they've already done that. They also do now what's SSA E16, which used to be called SAS 70. They also follow the EU data processing and privacy agreements. And then if you're in government, they also meet the FedRAMP requirements. In addition to all of those certifications, which they do annually, and if anybody's ever gone through any of those audits or tried to become ISO certified or SAS 70 or SSA E16 certified, I think you'll realize that is months and months of work with many, many, many resources, spending many, many hours doing that. So, so think about that. Is that really part of your business? It helps you from, I think, a client-facing perspective, but if Microsoft can do the heavy lifting for you, why not let them? And then that even gets into the physical pieces. They have caged multi-factor authentication on their sites. They have full perimeter security, extensive monitoring, locked racks, diesel backups, and backups upon backups. So from a failover perspective, I just don't think that most companies can spend the kind of money that Microsoft is spending on them. Okay? So those are kind of the reasons that I see as why you might want to do cloud. So let's jump into a couple more slides, and then we'll jump into the demonstration. And so communication, what do we mean by that? Well, most of us are communicating across multiple devices, right? We've got our smartphones, like our Windows phone, or we might prefer our iPhone and or iPads and Android. I think studies have shown that somewhere over 40% of us are accessing our email and responding to emails outside of the work hours, and probably most all of us are responding to them at least some point in the day on our mobile devices, right? And that kind of leads us into it's now a mobile world, right? Most of us now either carry a laptop or we carry a tablet, or we carry both if we don't have one of those new very cool Surface Pro 3 devices, and then on top of our phones. So wouldn't it be ideal if we can provide access to the productivity tools and our communication tools through all these devices? And then even using our standard email. So most of us are Outlook users. We love Outlook, and we're in it every day. And so help your users by allowing that to have access to all those devices, as well as through the browser, and take kind of the mundane task of managing all those servers and the equipment behind that off of your IT shoulders. Let them do things that have more value add and be more focused on customer-facing things than just the equipment. Okay. And in that, so all of the applications now are mobile-friendly. They allow you to do things just through touch, and I am going to demonstrate that in a minute so that you can kind of see the enhancements that have been made around that. Then that leads us into collaboration. And so how does Office 365 and CRM help us from a collaboration perspective? Well, one of the big ones is Link. It used to be called Office Communicator. Some of you might still be on that. But Link is really a way to have both virtual face-to-face meetings through video, and you can share video amongst team members, but also desktop sharing. So many of us are, just like today, we're using GoToWebinar, right? Well, when you have just a few people that you need to share that information with, whether internally or with a few clients, most of us probably are paying extra for things like GoToMeeting and WebEx and some of the other desktop sharing applications. Well, that adds up. So with Office 365, that's included on top of the SharePoint and the email and the Office and the other applications, which facilitates the collaboration component. It helps us collaborate more effectively and more efficiently. In addition to that, not only does it help us collaborate more effectively and efficiently internally, but new capabilities now allow you to just very simply and easily share that with people outside of your organization. So as you can see in this little screenshot, I can simply click on the document and click a share button, and then type in just email addresses of who I want to share that information with, and they'll get a link to that document, and then they'll be able to access that document. It's a way to kind of get away from having to always constantly go grab an attachment, put it in an email, and then send it out. And then, especially if you're needing to edit those documents, somebody's got to collate all the changes when they come back. And so we'll demonstrate that in a second too. And then here's kind of that idea of sharing that information with other individuals. Coordination. Okay, so it's important that we all coordinate, right? And that's what our calendars are for. But also coordination from just a productivity perspective on working with documents. You now have capabilities to do what's called co-authoring or co-editing, so that most people today end up having to, you make some edits. You send that document over to somebody who then they make some edits, and then that comes back, and then you make some more edits. Well, you now have the ability to jointly make edits at the same time. So you can now have people working on two different sections of a document, and it's the exact same document, and now you don't have to wait for one person to get done before the other person can take over. So you can both work on the same document and work collaboratively so that you can get it done more quickly and more efficiently, and then get that out to your customers. There's also now included in the capabilities what's called site mailboxes. So if you want a quick and easy way to just share information and be able to post not only documents but messages all through email, now SharePoint and OneDrive allow you to very simply set up a workspace, if you will, for just those special projects, say, or you've got a particular customer that you're wanting to deal with over the next few weeks or months. You can set up a site mailbox and even invite them into that mailbox and share documents and conversations. And then you can even extend that even further, especially from a collaboration perspective. Visio is something that many of us use, especially if you need any kind of diagramming or documenting business process flows. Visio is probably the best tool out there for that. You now can include that in your Office 365 subscription. Same thing from a project perspective. For those that are on the IT side of things or that run projects, Microsoft Project is an indispensable tool to help us keep things on track and to manage the tasks and the timelines. Now you can include that in your Office 365 and also access that over the web and through a browser. So again, it's now much more easy to share and collaborate amongst other people in the organization through these tools and through the ability to add these to your Office 365 application. Okay? So with that, let's jump into a demo. This isn't going to be a huge deep dive, but I am going to give you a nice little overview of some of these capabilities so that you can see how you'll be able to take advantage of them and start to work more collaboratively and coordinate things through these new tools. Okay, so first I'm just going to start off at really the Office 365 portal page. And so many of us have internal portals, and this is now a very easy to set up portal for our users. And so in this case, you can see in one place, and, how long have we wanted to have that one place to do everything we need? Well, it's now a reality. Right, so I can access my Outlook, I can access my calendar, I can also access shared calendars, see all the people. We can access our Yammer. All of the applications that we use are here in one simple location. Okay? So not only that, but because most of us still love our Outlook, we can still do those same things within Outlook. So I have this ability to have things right in my Outlook as well. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that so you can see how it works in both the kind of the portal or web environment, and then how you can do something similar in your Outlook environment. So let's start where most of us start every day, and that's with our Outlook application. So here you'll see that I have access to what's now, what used to be called OWA, Office Web Access, or Outlook Web Access rather. And so it's now almost pretty much on par with Outlook in terms of capabilities. So what I like about this is that there's now also an enhanced capability called apps. It's an app-based world, right? Any of us that have smartphones, we probably have dozens of apps on our phones. Well, Office 365 now takes advantage of that app concept and gives us things like, for example, this little Bing Map app. So what it will do if you configure or enable this particular app within Outlook, it will read through your email, and if it detects things like an address, it will say, hey, I think I see an address, and it will map that information for you. And you can see right from within my email, I can get directions. Okay, I can even expand that to a larger map. But think about that from a productivity and efficiency perspective. You're trying to meet a new customer, they send you their address, and now right from within that email, you can just simply click on the little app button for Bing Maps, and then get directions, and bang, it'll take you right to it. Okay? So really, I think a huge increase, especially if you do that, like most sales reps that are out in the field. They do that many times a day, especially if they're visiting new customers. Isn't that a big help to them? And stretch that out over a week and over a month, and you'll see that just one simple little thing like that helps us coordinate things much more quickly and efficiently. And there's other apps in here, like, for example, if it saw this meeting request, it can suggest setting up a meeting, and some other applications that do things just very quickly and easily. Okay? We also, things like if we wanted to, for example, on our SharePoint, we get notifications. So if we include Yammer and enable that, and I follow people and follow information, and people follow me for information, I get those notifications in my inbox. When people share information, for example, like an overview slide, let me show you how I can quickly and easily share a document, and it's going to be a little bit different than probably what we do today. So I'm just going to create a new email, and I'm going to share a document with Ty, who's the person in our organization. And let's just say slide deck for presentation. And now I can insert this information. Most of us today, we can do an insert attachment, right? Now, where we can copy it out of our file explorer and then paste it in. But here's the value and benefit that you get out of it when it's in Office 365. You can now store all those documents in OneDrive, and now I can go out and grab that information. So you can kind of think of OneDrive as your My Documents folder, only stored in the cloud, right? And you don't even have to think about it. Your default My Documents now can be your OneDrive. And the value here, and I've actually had this happen not too long ago. I had an older laptop, and it crashed. And luckily for me, I'd been using OneDrive for Business, and all of my documents were stored in OneDrive. I literally, as soon as I got the replacement laptop, I was up and running without any loss of data, basically within minutes of me booting up that application, booting up the new laptop. Okay? And these files are always backed up. It'll even do version control for you. So think about how many of us probably have, of this one document. I've got maybe 3, 4, or 5 different versions because I've copied I make a copy, I make changes, I make another copy, I make changes. Those types of things, those kind of can be, at least a part of our past because versioning is already built into the application, right? But I'm just going to grab this document, and I want to just share this with OneDrive. Okay. So now you'll see it looks like a regular attachment, and then deck for our meeting. Right? But what it actually is doing behind the scenes is it's just going to send a link over to Ty. And then Ty will be able to, and you can even see this if I wanted to, I could download permissions. I could give certain people permissions of the document if I had multiple people here. But once I send that now, it'll go over to Ty, and I'm going to bring up Ty's desktop here. And so we'll see that he gets that information right here in his inbox. Okay, so now I've logged in from Ty. I saw that it came from Karen. And right from here, I can now open up that document. And notice what it's doing. It's actually opening it within the browser, right? So think about that. What do I have to do today if I don't have this kind of a setup? I have to download the file, usually downloading it to my documents. Then I open it up in PowerPoint, and then I can start editing it. But right here, right away, I can start to view that information. I can edit that information. I can even reshare that information. So if I wanted to pass this on to other individuals, I can do those sorts of things with now just a click or two instead of having to do all of those traditional things of saving and copying and pasting and doing all that. Right? So I think just that alone is just a humongous time saving in terms of being able to make things more efficient from a coordination and collaboration and communication perspective. Right? Now, we can even do things like share folders and things along those lines. So if I go back to my Office portal, and let's just say that I want to see what's in my OneDrive. So I'm going to go to my OneDrive, and notice that all my applications are also always here in the app bar. So if I go to OneDrive, I don't have to always navigate back. They still stay here at the top. And so if I wanted to share another document with another individual, I can just simply share that information. And then who do I want to share it with? Now notice this. This, I think, is another good benefit to the Office 365 platform in that I get this nice little preview. And if there's multiple pages, you'll see there's a little next button here. So I can even page through those. Is that the right document? Is that the right one that I want to send? Because sometimes, documents might have similar names, and you just need a little refresher. I can share this information with other individuals. So maybe I want to share that with Karen and with Molly. So let's do Karen and Molly, right? So notice it'll do the lookups for me and automatically fill that in. I can add a personal little note, here, and now they will get that in their inboxes. Okay, so very simple and easy now. They'll be able to access that document. But let's just say that, I need to collaborate in a little bit broader audience. Instead of two specific people like Karen and Molly or Ty and Molly, I can now actually post this to Yammer. Okay? And now what that allows me to do is go ahead and post this information, and I need some help on cleaning this up. Appreciate any feedback, right? So now what I've done is I've just posted this document into Yammer, and now any of my other team members that are in Yammer will now see that document, they'll see that link, and they'll be able to log in. Normally that automatically logs in. They'll be able to see that information right within their Yammer feeds. Right? So now, boom, there it is. There's the Yammer document, and now other people that have access to Yammer will also be able to kind of chime in here and say, really would love great ideas for this document. Okay? So it's a way now for us to collaborate with other individuals. We can even call out specific individuals. So if you've ever used social media applications like Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, you notice that you can use an @ symbol. And so if I start to type in people's names, this is kind of like sending a direct message in Twitter. And so I can say, hey, Ty, this should be ready by end of week, right? So he now gets notification that it's been posted. I've asked for other feedback, and then I've sent him a notification in Yammer, and he will also get that in a feed in his inbox in case he's traveling. So just a couple of simple, great ways for us to be able to communicate, collaborate, and coordinate more effectively and efficiently. Okay. Same thing from a site's perspective. Now, this is kind of expanding on the idea of our intranets. Okay? And so you'll see that I've got a number of intranets. I've got a sales and marketing site, community site. We've got whiteboards and things along those lines. But let's just take a quick look at our sales and marketing intranet portal. And this can also be extended, for example, to resellers and the external people. So if we work through channels, we can do that as well. But I want to do a little bit of analysis on some of my CRM data. And notice that I'm still within my portal. So I want to go into my Power BI application. And this is also part of the Office 365 platform. Now notice I'm still doing everything through the browser. Okay, so think about that. Now no matter where I'm at and when I need it, I can access it through a browser or through a device that you'll see in a second here. Okay. So once the Power BI portal loads up, I now have access to a number of different dashboards, and that's all security driven. But let's just say I want to take a quick look at my opportunities. Okay. Now, this information I've actually got connected to our CRM application, or let's just do instead of our HTML there, so that it always stays connected to my CRM data and pulls in that information out of CRM and into the portal. So think about from an executive perspective who aren't typically day-to-day users, although ours is, so I highly encourage yours to be too, but we definitely often need more sophisticated reporting capabilities and things along the lines of metrics and KPIs. So you can see that within this portal and Power BI dashboard, it's pulling in CRM information out of my opportunities. I can drill into data and notice how the data changes when I click on each of the different segments within the application and within the dashboard. Right? So it's just a real nice way for us to very quickly and easily get to the information that is important to us. We can even do things like use now Power Q&A, which is a way for us to use English-type queries. So, like, for example, let's just say open opportunities. And notice as I start to type this, and if I just hit enter, it'll start to look up information for me based upon the data that is already in the dashboard that I've got. So once I start to type in those queries, it's actually looking through all the open dashboards and allowing me to surface information just through typing in a question. And as Murphy goes, sometimes things don't always go as expected in your demo, but he should, there we go, oh, something went wrong. So maybe we won't demonstrate that portion of the demo, but it's a real nice additional capability to say open opportunities in all territories, things along those lines that just make it a lot easier for us to drill into the data and understand information more at that English level instead of typing in complex queries and things along those lines. Okay. So let's now touch just a little bit on the idea of our projects and if we're into project management. So now notice here we've got a list of all of our projects, and I can go into, we can have multiple projects and it'll outline our tasks, our resources, and reporting structures. So here we have the new timeline view and see where we're at in that particular project. We can see the actual individual tasks. If we drill into each of them, it'll even drill down to the next layer and show us what are the start and finish dates, what are the resources that are assigned to that, when do we expect those projects to be completed. So just a great way to improve the coordination and collaboration amongst team members for projects. And keep in mind again, not only internal people, but now I can create these projects for external people and invite them in as well. Okay? So now let's touch a little bit on our CRM application. Okay? And so CRM now also has that tight integration. Again, notice I'm still basically just working out of my portal. But let's go in and show you how we can enhance what's already there. And notice that I surfaced that information from my dashboard. My CRM dashboard now is also showing me the information from a Yammer perspective. Okay, so we're surfacing that important information and that top-of-mind information wherever we go. Okay, so we don't always have to go to one place to find it. But let's now go and take a look at maybe one or two of our opportunities. Okay, So I'm just going to go in and look at maybe this initial opportunity to it could be whatever type of an opportunity. This again is just for demonstration purposes. But let's say that we've got a sales process where we have stages, which is a qualify, develop, propose, and close stage, and within it we have steps, right? So once I kind of complete all of these steps in this particular stage, we can go on to kind of the next stage and understand exactly what steps we have to do in that stage. But what we've also have the ability to do now, since it's all tied into Office 365, is we've created a set of documents that once I get into the proposal stage, we can actually have the system automatically create those documents for us. So if we go into, for example, our opportunities where I've already kind of got those. Let's see. And sorry, we have a little bit of information, a little bit of noise in the background. But I'm just going to surface through to the next three steps, because what I've got in the background happening here is a trigger that's going to create a document set. Okay, so based upon my proposal stage, I've told CRM to go out to the SharePoint site, create a site for this particular opportunity, and create a set of documents for it. Because every stage in this opportunity, we have 4 documents that we need to be completed by different people in the organization. So what we see here then is once that stage is created, you'll see that it immediately gets created here. I now have access to all of those documents. But I can also, right from within my CRM application, if I just double-click on the file, it's now going to open up that document. And again, it's opening up in the browser. So I don't have to download it, wait for it to download, open it in Word, make my edits, save it, then go back to the site, then upload it, and do all that. Sometimes that can take us several minutes, right? And if we do that 4, 5, 10 times a day, think about how much time we're saving when we do that. Okay? Or, in addition to that, we can do things like just if I wanted to open up the whole thing in SharePoint and see what are all the documents. The additional value and benefit that you get here is if other people in the organization upload documents from here, I can actually now see those within context of that opportunity. So you could have people in the organization who might not need to have the full access of CRM. All they really do is maybe review and approve documents. So they can keep their tasks focused on this portal and the set of portals, upload documents that they're responsible for, and then when we go back to the portal, we'll see that it actually then will show that document that was uploaded by another individual. Okay? And so it's just, again, a great way to improve that collaboration and coordination amongst multiple team members, whether or not they actually are pure CRM users or not. So with that, we're going to go back to our dashboard page here, and then go to the presentation, and I'm going to just end to wrap up with a couple other little slides here. Okay. So with that, then we wanted to kind of wrap up and hopefully gave you an idea of some of the power and flexibility of the Office 365 platform coupled with CRM, and able to improve communication, collaboration, and coordination. So with that, we're going to close out. I'm going to start to answer some questions. And again, here's our contact information, so feel free to reach out to us on any of these communication mediums here. And let me get that presented here. And one thing that I do want to point out, there is currently a promotion at this point in time where you can actually combine CRM, Office 365, and Power BI, all for one low price, which is $65 per user per month. And that's actually the same price that today, before this promotion, $65 is just the CRM price. So you're essentially getting Office 365 and Power BI for free thrown in. And I think that's for the next couple of months. So this is just a great promotion that I'd highly encourage you, if you're considering Office 365 and or considering Dynamics CRM, that you take advantage of this offer. And then if you're an existing Office 365 or CRM user, I think there's some additional promotions where you can do some step-ups or add-ins for that as well. And reach out to us and we can provide you some additional details there. So with that, we're going to just open it up to some questions here. And so one question is, what storage size is available on OneDrive? And so we just had an announcement earlier this week, actually, where Microsoft has announced that for the OneDrive component, so that's where really, and that's behind the scenes, that's really SharePoint, it is now unlimited storage. So you no longer have any limits and have to pay any extra fees for any storage. Okay? So I think that's another tremendous value add. So think about it. I think if you go with a Dropbox or just, or Box or, I think even iCloud, you end up paying on the low end $10 per year, if not $10 per month, and some of them like Box is $10 per month, per user per month. So, for that same price, you get unlimited storage. You also now have the ability to upload a file size that is 2 gigabytes in size. So most of us, luckily, fortunately, don't have to deal with files that large, but the Office 365 platform allows you to have file sizes up to 2 gigabytes in size, and now with unlimited storage, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. So another question, can Office 365 be implemented without cloud technology? And really, when you hear Office 365, that is the cloud version. So, you don't really get Office 365 on premise. However, you can deploy all of the components of Office 365 on your own servers. It's just no longer called Office 365. What you have to do at that point then is install and update your Exchange to 2013. Install a SharePoint farm and set up and configure your SharePoint for 2013. You have to install and set up a link server, install and set up your project servers, and any of the other components that we've kind of walked through today. Those can be installed on premise, but just keep in mind that there's a fairly significant investment in both the software and the hardware, and then usually you need a little help in setting those up correctly. So bottom line is, yes, you can set up all the components, but it's no longer Office 365. Okay. Question, does Microsoft Office 365 to organization, so can you license Office 365 to organizations or individually? And that's a good question. There are 2 options for Office 365. One is, yes, you can be an individual, but the minimum is actually 5 users. Okay, so if you just did Office 365 and you didn't want to take advantage of the promotion, it's $20 per user per month. So it would cost you about $100 per user per month if you just wanted 1 license, but you'd still get 5 total licenses out of that. But you do also have an option of Office 365 Personal, and that gives you most of the capabilities that we've shown you here today. Some of the things like the Yammer's not included, and the project and Power BI are not included in that, but you get all of the Office applications, so that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Access, Publisher, and I think there's OneNote, and there might be 1 or 2 in there still. But you do get all of that in the Office 365 Personal, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's less than $100 a year now for that option. So yes, if an individual, Office 365 Personal. I would recommend Office 365 Business and go with the minimum if you can afford that, because you'll just get a lot more benefit out of that, and it gives you room to grow. And then we have another question here before we wrap up. So if you create a quote in CRM, can all my quotes be stored in OneDrive? And that is a great question. And yes, definitely. You can have all of your quotations and proposals and even presentations all be stored in the OneDrive side or the SharePoint side of Office 365. So that question probably comes from most of us, if we've got Dynamics CRM online, we realize that there are still some storage limits there. And if you go beyond your storage limits, you end up having to pay additional fees for that storage. And so now you can take advantage of storing your documents not in the CRM component, but either turn on the SharePoint integration, and which also essentially is turning on the OneDrive capability, store now all of your documents inside of that side of the application, doesn't hit your CRM limits, and now gives you the unlimited storage capability on the Office 365 side of things. Okay. So hopefully that answers the questions that we have up to this point. If you did have another question, feel free to reach out to us again. And with that, we're going to close the demonstration, and we will be sending out a link that will include the presentation as well as a link to the recording. So again, thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today, and we look forward to helping you understand how we can help you with the 3 Cs. Okay. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.